I've been thinking a lot about 2021, so I thought that I would share some of my highlights with you and some never before seen photos. The first highlight of this year, I would say, was in January, our annual Human Trafficking Awareness Month candlelight vigil. It was virtual this year. Every year it's a really just beautiful, meaningful event with speakers and music. And also it's a time really to increase awareness of human trafficking. So I needed to replicate that somehow in a digital, virtual way. During the in-person vigil, I usually act as sort of the MC, the master of ceremonies. So I did that. I went and recorded it at a local city hall where one of my friends works, and so I was able to gain access to that. That was really cool. I put it all together in a video, shared about different services around the state. And then there's always like an actual candlelight vigil portion where people hold candles. So we did that digitally as well. It was a lot of work, but I enjoyed it. I'm also on the advisory council for the Oklahoma Commission on the Status of Women. I got to be a part of a panel discussion about human trafficking that the commission put on with other just fantastic panelists who provide services of different kinds or help survivors in different ways. And then I got to put that video together as well for the commission, and that was a really cool experience. In February, I learned how to repot. My plant has been on my New Year's goals list for a couple of years, and for some reason it was just really intimidating to me, and I learned that it is not that expensive and it's not that hard. My plant did go into plant shock, which is a thing that I learned existed, and it was super wilty, and I was like, oh no, what have I done? Just as the internet said, it perked back up and it's flourishing. It's so full and green and shiny and beautiful. Makes me so happy. I think the next highlight would be in May. I got to lead the production of a new video for Dragonfly, telling the story of a victim survivor of human trafficking we served. We always changed the names and images. We called this person Krista. Worked with a videographer whom we have worked with several times. It turned out so cool, not because of me, but because of all the talented people who contributed. You should go watch it. It's on the Dragonfly Home's YouTube channel, and it's just called Krista's Story. It's so beautiful and moving, and it just turned out so great. Let me say something about walking and vlogging. My arms are tired. The next highlight would definitely be July. It was all birthday all the time. First, I had my good pals Kaylee and Marla, maybe the first people I've had actually at my house in a very long time for obvious reasons. We all share the same birthday, July 3rd, and so I do an annual birthday triplets podcast episode with them. I wanted to do it up real special, and so I made a 3-layer chocolate cake. I made lunch and just a wonderful meal, very simple but just nice. And I decorated my podcast recording room rose gold because there's the colors of the podcast. It looked like birthday had just exploded all over my house. It was fantastic. It made me so happy. And then I think the week after that, I went to Iowa to celebrate with my family and some friends. My parents invited people over and did a simple cookout, and my mom made my favorite chocolate sheet cake. Had a lot of people who I hadn't seen in quite a while there, and it was a wonderful time. And then my friend Hannah Brammer also took me out for a very nice birthday dinner, and then we got frozen custard, which is a northern Midwest thing. Hi. And then most unexpectedly, some friends threw me a surprise birthday party. This has never happened for me before. And it's these photos that are the never before seen photos of my surprise birthday party. For whatever reason, I just didn't want to share them right away. because it was something so personal that just existed in that moment. So it was led by Whitney from Dragonfly, and then she conspired with several friends, my friend Mandy in Tulsa, and then the aforementioned Kaylee and Marla, and then Taylor. Friends who couldn't be there sent in videos. It was Parks and Rec theme everywhere. Oh my gosh, it was the best. And they had balloon arch and decorations. They had signs all over that were Parks and Rec references, and I went around and looked at every single one of them. Well, they had Skittles and Starburst there so that we could make Andy's mouth surprise. If you know, you know. That will live in my memory as just one of my all-time favorite nights. So then I'll fast forward to September. September was just bananas as I was working around the clock, and I'm not even, I mean literally, on Dragonfly's 6th annual Crown of Beauty Gala. Even though it's a lot of work, it's super rewarding to see those final results. It was cool to be in this brand new venue, and then, you know, remembering from the very, very first gala just to see how it's grown. We had Miss Oklahoma there, who's going to be competing in the Miss America competition pretty soon. She was our MC. We had a Survivor speaker send in a video. She was incredible. And then just the volunteers and the staff and just the incredible people and how hard they worked. I mean, it takes all of those people to make it work, and to see how everyone came together, like especially the couple days before and the day of the gala, it's always just, it's so deeply meaningful to see how many people will give of their time and their resources and their energy and their talent to help that event happen. And then that event directly impacts survivors of human trafficking that we serve at Dragonfly. But the day before the gala, my 86th episode of the podcast also came out. The number 86 isn't exactly seen as a typical milestone, but I'm like, that's a big number. That's a lot of podcast episodes. And that was really meaningful to me to see how the podcast has evolved over 2.5 years, and how it has helped me learn my message. And then I go back and I listen to older podcast episodes, and I'm like, this is very good information that I'm sharing. As I've been hinting at throughout Vlogmas, there's going to be some big announcements about the podcast. It is wild to think that I'll hit 100 episodes next year, just making it on my own. Then in October, after I recovered finally from the gala, I finished the first draft of my memoir. It's not a good draft at all. Probably pretty bad, but it's a draft, an actual draft, and you can't edit something that doesn't exist. I wanted to finish it before November because November was NaNoWriMo. NaNoWriMo is National Novel Writing Month, and then NaNoWriMo is a nonprofit that formed around that. So the goal each November with NaNoWriMo is to write 50,000 words in 1 month. Traditionally, it's supposed to be toward a brand new novel, but there are plenty of NaNoWriMo rebels, of which I am one, because I focus on nonfiction. So this was my 5th NaNoWriMo, and it's safe to say that doing NaNoWriMo changed my life. This year I worked on preparing podcast episodes that will also be blog posts, and I guess maybe that doesn't sound like anything special, but to have so many things written up already for next year is unprecedented for me. I love doing things in advance, so I'll be well prepared to start recording come January, I guess, because I'm doing Vlogmas during December. And then finally in November, my friend Hannah Brammer, whom I've already mentioned, came and visited me for the first time in 4 years. It was a very quick trip. We packed in the good times. We looked at a lot of Christmas lights. She helped me hang Christmas lights on the outside of my house. Everything we did was rather Christmassy, and then eating out at local restaurants. That's basically what we did, and it was so much fun. I guess another highlight was getting vaccinated, and I recently got my booster shot. Yeah, 2021 was a real challenge. It was a big year, and I don't think that I had necessarily looked at Vlogmas as kind of a way of, I guess, marking and celebrating that I made it through, that I am really excited for 2022. I think it will be a different year than the past 2 years have been. And yet, even during a hard year, it's important to recognize the big things that happen, the good memories. It's important to highlight and celebrate those. Thank you for joining me for this very, very outside Vlogmas and joining me in this really very beautiful fallish looking little park. I'll be highlighting the Christmas lights in this park coming up. I would so appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel and hit that like button on the video. You can follow me on Instagram at Melissa Eich, E-I-C-K, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.